All right.
Okay, just finishing up a few notes on my end here.
Well, Rick, glad you got the link. Glad you made it in.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
We've had a bit of that this morning. Some Zoom links and emails tend to get lost in the shuffle.
Not a worry.
All right, I guess we got a couple minutes before folks come in, so
All right.
feeling all set there, Casey?
Nervous as usual.
And I'll come back at the end with any questions that are still there, and just to make sure that we're wrapping up on time. But
Yep.
yeah, otherwise.
I'll set a little timer on my end too, so 15 minutes or so, and then glance over there from time to time, make sure I'm still kind of on pace and track too. So,
Great.
Where are you guys located, Jeff?
We are in a little town called Carborough, North Carolina, which is right next to Chapel Hill, where the University of North Carolina is.
Gotcha. Working from home like everybody else?
Mostly, occasionally getting into the office. Yeah, pardon me.
Gotcha.
Celisa is actually in our offices today, but I am at home.
Yeah, I think we've kind of peripherally known each other for, I don't know, a decade or something. It's good to finally see you. I've got a face that's good for radio today, so I'm keeping my camera off. But yeah, it's good to see you.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we should start having some folks come in here shortly. I can see them starting to come in.
all right.
Give just 30 seconds, a minute, or not even a minute, 30 seconds, and then we'll get started.
All right.
Yeah,
sounds
there's no yawning in this presentation, Casey.
Particularly not from the presenter.
good. No. Just trying to show you how laid back I am. That's all.
Casey's a pro. I have done demos for 20 years or something, but mine tend to be a little meandering. He gets right into it. He's a pro.
And just as he says that, we've set the bar way too high.
But nobody can hear us yet.
Actually, people can't hear you. At this point.
Okay.
All right, so it looks like we got folks coming in, so we got a pretty good group here. So we're going to go ahead and get things started off. I'm Jeff Cobb, and I want to welcome you to this session, which is part of the VMA Virtual Summit 2020 and will be a demo of CE21. This session will be led by Casey Jones. Casey is Vice President of Sales and Analytics at CE21, and he's going to share with you for about 20 minutes. We, as always, invite you to submit questions at any point as we go along, and to do that, just use the Q&A panel or the chat. We'll be monitoring both. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Casey.
Thanks, Jeff. Nice, wonderful introduction. And also on our team here that will be participating in the chat, we have Rick Rutherford and John Davis. So Rick is our VP of Marketing and Strategy, and John is our CEO. So if you do have any questions while I'm going through the presentation here, feel free to post those, and those two gentlemen will be able to help you out in that chat session there. So. Additionally, with that, we see our email here, cjones@CE21, sales@CE21 works as well, so you should be able to reach out to us at any point. Just want to start off and give you a little bit of background about CE21, kind of where we've been. We have launched, we're a little over 5 years old at this point, but our experience in the online education goes back 22 years. Specifically, the virtual conference aspect, that history began a little over 2 years ago as well. So a very seasoned product that we have here that we'll be showing you today. Collectively, with the core leadership that we have, you're looking at close to 100 years of experience in delivering professional continuing education. So really good grasp of all the ins and outs that needs to go with having continuing education, delivering certificates and attendance tracking, all that stuff. So. What you'll be getting when you look at utilizing a CE21 product, be it our LMS or virtual conference or now our AMS, is a combined natively built system that from the ground up, everything is integrated together. So the reason I kind of mentioned some of those other features, I know a lot of our discussion here is for virtual conferences. Every once in a while we get in discussions with folks though where they have a few products that they kind of drip out over time, month over month. And so sometimes having a learning management platform that they can distribute that content over time works just as well as a one-off type of virtual conference. So just wanted to throw that out there, that you do have the ability to have more than one product within CE21. The really nice thing from your leadership and your user side of things, everything is tied together. So if you do a conference today and then another one 6 months later, you have the same users that are logging in that have registered for both events. They're actually going to see a history of everything all tied together in their profile then. So the next thing I'll just kind of mention real quick before we jump into everything, just our core belief in how CE21 is structured, and that is that we feel the more successful we can help you become, the more successful we're going to become as well. So you see a lot of things with CE21 that maybe you don't get everywhere else as far as the service and support aspect. We're really going above and beyond to make sure your product looks nice, your members are taken care of, the customer support is all handled, the technical support, we're taking care of all that for you. So just want to throw that out there. So let's see here, jumping in here, bounce this down a little bit, get rid of that. The first thing kind of want to highlight is that when folks are looking at doing their virtual conference, what CE21 is going to be creating for them is a custom branded experience. So most organizations are going to have a link on their website, click here to go and register for our virtual conference. From that point, we're taking those folks and bringing them to a landing page. So there's two different ways you can handle your registration. Some groups will have their own process and method for capturing registrants for their conference and payment and all that. That works fine. We can actually get an export of all of your registrants, put them into our system, and set up a profile for every registrant that you have. And within their profile, they'll have that virtual conference product. Other folks like to go the other route where they let CE21 capture all of the registrants and payment. And so if you have your own e-commerce account, many times we can plug that directly in there. And so people are coming from your website to go register for your virtual conference, and they'll come into the catalog that is going to be customized and look just like your site. So most folks don't even recognize they've left your site to come to our catalog. It looks custom branded to match what you want it to look and feel like. From there, you have your virtual conference itself, and you can get as creative as you want with this. Your description of your conference, you can have tabs for all the speakers and their profiles. If there are sponsorship opportunities, a lot of times groups will try and find a way to give them some real estate on the product registration pages. And so there's a lot of different things that you can do in here. A lot of the things that I'll show you today are just examples of what folks have done within an HTML space. So you can drop in images, link to products and websites, all that fun stuff. And if you see I'm hovering over this, we actually get the state link at the bottom to actually bounce out to their website then. You can have a drop down of all the included sessions, you know, the agenda, all that fun stuff. And then from there, you can decide how you'd like to capture payment. So I mentioned most times we can integrate with your e-commerce setup. And so when people are going through and registering and paying, that money is going directly into your account. If you don't have anything like that, you'd like to utilize ours, you can definitely use CE21's e-commerce account. We'll capture the funds and send those to you then after. From there, I'd like to mention then a lot of things that you see with capturing the payment. The common question that comes up, can you have different levels of membership? So yes, you can break out the payment by different level of membership. You can have early bird registration and break that down the closer you get to the conference date. You can have coupon codes, all kinds of things you can get creative with from the marketing side of things and when you're capturing registrations. So after I just throw up another thing here so to kind of give you an idea of just different looks that you can have with the different registration and different pricing. Something else that comes up a lot is how we're able to handle the continuing education and the credits and certification distribution. So within the system, you can actually have a credits tab, and you can have a complete description of all the credits that everybody's going to get when they're taking the programs. The system actually allows you to have multiple certificates for each individual session as well. So you may have a doctor taking it for 3 credits, an assistant taking it for 2 credits, maybe a student taking it for 1, something like that. The system will actually allow you to have multiple credits and certification setups within each program. And so when they actually complete the program, get their quiz and their course evaluation done, it'll spit out a custom certificate for them as well. So while I'm on that topic, might as well show you a little bit about what that looks like. We will actually work with you and your staff to build that certificate and whatever you want it to look like. You can send us the logos, all the text that you'd like, and then we have within our software tokens that will actually automatically fill out all of those certificates then. So if somebody has passed the minimum requirements for attending the program, they passed the quiz, they've done the course evaluation, they'll get their certificate then, and that would spit out all that information, participant name, license number, all those fields fill in automatically for them. So from here, I just want to kind of jump into a member's profile. So kind of mentioned, we can allow you to capture the registration, or we can process that. Either way, every person is going to have a member's profile set up for them, and within their account, they're typically going to have a tab for My List and maybe a support ticket tab. A lot of the other stuff that you see here is for LMS type of features. But within the My List tab, they're going to have that virtual conference. And they just click on that, and it's bringing them into that setup then. So we are custom building and designing this for you. We're doing the heavy lifting of building it, kind of relying on you and your staff to give us all the necessary logos and language and video that we can use to populate all of this. Before I get too far into the 100% virtual, I know we're starting to get requests for people that are hopeful and anticipating some kind of hybrid event in the near future. I think a lot of folks are looking at maybe next spring for their conference, having a hybrid version of some sort where they have live speakers in person, and then they're going to live stream a track of that conference. We do have a nationwide network of videographers. So if everything is deemed safe enough, we can actually have those videographers go attend your conference and live stream different tracks of your event. And so when you have a hybrid conference, you can actually modify the layout a little bit in here. You can have images for what the this is the videographer that's streaming out of the Liberty Ballroom. And then we'd have all the different tracks and different sessions that are happening from that room for that day. So the system allows you to do that. Just wanted to throw that out there. Right now, a lot of people are just focusing on 100% virtual, but we have had that discussion come up where people are looking at hybrids in the not too distant future. So we can accommodate that. Not a big request right now, but when we get to that point, happy to speak with you about more of what you would need for that. For now, though, most of the virtual conference side of things that is 100% virtual, most groups will start with an introduction tab, and up to you. But this whole space here is, again, HTML. So you can do a lot within here. You're not limited by very much, really. You will see a lot of organizations put in a marketing video here. So maybe they've created a video for their marketing video for their conference, or a highlight video of last year's conference. Groups that are really association membership heavy will maybe have a video about benefits of being a member. So that's some nice material that you can throw in here. Quick little write-up about hey, thanks again for joining us on our first ever virtual conference. And then a lot of groups will have a forum at the bottom. So you can look at this as more like a LinkedIn kind of threaded conversation. It's usually a good place where people can just kind of say hi, reconnect with their peers and colleagues, and on the days, weeks leading up to the conference. From there, you have the different tabs for the different days of your conference. If you had one day and it was multiple tracks, that might be another way to do this. Day one, this is track 1, track 2, track 3. But again, you have a lot of customization that you can do within this. So just kind of keep an open mind of, your imagination can really drive us to create some really cool things within this space. Most folks will have a table here for the different sessions of their agenda. They can have the agenda actually spelled out in here as well. And then to actually launch into one of the sessions, they're going to click Launch Viewer. And that, again, is taking folks into a custom-built space that we have. So this is what we call our viewer, and this will be completely customized for you as well. The CE21 stuff goes away. You're going to have your own logo up in here. If you're not a big fan of the gray on gray, we can change the color schemes for you. I threw a whole bunch of tabs across the top to let you see some of the options, but you can really go through here and cherry pick. One thing I'll mention, probably 90% of our conferences that we're helping people with right now are doing a simulated live format. So the speakers are actually pre-recording their presentations, and we will actually set them to play at a specific day and time that matches with their conference agenda. So for example, we have our first session here, 8 o'clock. This is maybe Dr. Johnson's session, and his recording, he's gotten that to us ahead of time. We've plugged that in here, and his session will play right at 8. And usually we are encouraging the speaker to come into this space probably 15 minutes before their session starts. And so what will happen then is the speaker will actually participate in a live chat throughout the replay of their presentation. So you get a really engaging experience for the attendees. They can watch a real high quality version of the speaker's presentation. You know, if they're a perfectionist, they're going to do 10 practice runs before they get one they like anyway. So it's going to be a nice looking file and presentation. The user gets to see an hour of content and an hour of Q&A and interaction with the speaker. So really, really great experience from the user side of things. If you have any aspect of your conference that you feel just absolutely needs to be live, we can accommodate that as well. So we have a very upgraded Zoom license that allows us to take a normal Zoom broadcast and distribute it or feed it into this viewer infrastructure. So the organizations actually get to take advantage of both aspects there. They can have the live component and they can utilize all the wonderful features that we've built into this. The attendance tracking, you've got about 5 or 6 different ways you can track attendance. I should probably back up and cover different options for integrating your sponsors within this space. So a lot of times you'll see maybe an information tab or something similar to this where they'll just relabel this sponsor, and they'll have the organization's information, their logo. You can link directly out to their site or a product they're selling. The other thing that a lot of groups will do is they'll capture little marketing clips from those organizations. So maybe a 30-second or a 1-minute clip, and they'll actually set that to play right before the speaker presentation. So a little clip from Pfizer, and that plays, and then it rolls right into the speaker's presentation at 8 o'clock. The nice thing about the system, organizations can actually create their own intro and outro videos as well. So you could have your Pfizer video, your marketing video, or sponsor video play, then your own created video that says, hey, hope you enjoyed those words from our sponsor, and now into our first presentation of the day, and then it rolls right into Dr. Johnson's spiel. So a lot of different options there on how you engage the sponsors just within this viewer, and there's a few other ways that I'll touch on here in just a second too. One thing I wanted to mention while I'm out here that probably comes up a lot, how we're going to be able to track that attendance, the quizzing, the certificate distribution, all of that is built right within this viewer as well. So I mentioned you've got about 5 or 6 different ways we can track attendance. Some of the most strict are not just time in and time out, but also having questions pop up throughout the program, you know, to see if they're still paying attention. Kind of similar to the questions that are popping up, you can have a question pop up after that sponsor video plays. If you'd like more information or be contacted by that sponsor, click here. And so then after the event, you have a list of everybody that had watched the sponsor video and requested more information. So you can distribute that to all of your sponsors then. Just show you another tab here. This is probably a little better one to give you an idea. You can have that quiz, evaluation, and access to the certificate. Again, you can set all the minimum requirements and threshold. They need to watch 80% of the program before they can take the quiz. They need to get 70% on the quiz to pass. They need to complete the evaluation before they can access the certificate, so you can set all these as prerequisites. Getting shorter on time, so I'll bounce out of this real quick and jump back into the conference layout here to show you a little bit of some other options that groups will do with their sponsors. If you have a big name sponsor that really wants to be the face of your conference, you can actually give them their own tab within this space. And so this would be Pfizer, their marketing video, write up about the organization. You could actually have a launch button that would take them into their own custom Pfizer viewer experience. So this would just be all marketing videos on Pfizer, handouts and everything from the organization are here. Some groups will have tiers of sponsorship. So in that case, maybe a gold tier. And again, you've got a list of everybody, and you can, again, have a link that launches people into a gold space, and you'd play all those gold sponsors. The nice thing is we can track the attendance there. So a lot of times you'll see groups say, hey, we're on a 30-minute break. This is your time to go and visit with our sponsors or exhibitors. And we can actually then track to see everybody that came out here. And then we'll distribute that list to you. You can share with your sponsors to let everybody know then who came and actually paid attention to their stuff. And they can then draw names for their giveaways from that. The last thing I'll mention here, and then probably open for Q&A since we're getting close on time, the exhibitors aspect. A lot of times the exhibitors are going to have a little different want or need than your sponsors, and part of that is, how do I have live engagement with the attendees? So people can have open mic and video with the exhibitors, and what we've done for that is allow those exhibitors to set up their own Zoom meetings, and we'll plug those in here. So you've got a 30-minute exhibitor breakout, everybody can come down here. Oh, I want to visit with CRC, click Launch Viewer, and I am going into a direct Zoom meeting, a direct Zoom meeting then with any of those representatives from the company. So with that, I see Jeff pop back up on here. So
getting right up on time. Casey,
right.
That's been great. We do have one question here from Heather asking, can you access a full certificate with complete credits at the end of the conference? So I guess kind of like a transcript, or is it only one certificate per session?
You can. It's not going to be a tabulated certificate, so it's not going to count. Okay, you did 1 hour here, 2 hours over here, and then you skipped 3 hours here, so we're only giving you a 3-hour certificate. We do have groups where they're just awarding one big certificate for participating with the conference, and in that case, yes, you could have just a separate tab for all the different certificates and one just overall certificate for attending the conference. Of course, it all kind of varies based off industry needs for tracking. So some people will just have a simple affidavit. Yeah, I attest that I watched all these programs, and they'll give them that certificate then. So, yeah.
Well, great. Well, thanks. That was a very thorough demo, and we are at the end of our time. So I'm going to thank you, Casey, and thank you to everyone for attending. This brings to a close this demonstration session.
Thank you.
And as a reminder, the next demo with Community Brands will be at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, following a 15-minute break.